Welcome to episode 45 of Comic Book Nation, the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and joining me on the couch again is my co-host, Matthew Aguilar.
What's up, everybody?
And once again, forming our trinity of the Comic Book Nation core trinity is our man, Brandon Davis.
Hello, how are you?
And today we're bringing BD back because we thought we'd be talking some Spider-Man Far From Home spoilers today. But as it happened, the news cycle did not cooperate and kept dropping some hot news on us that we had to talk about. So we will be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home spoilers later in this week, just in time for your July 4th holiday, because, you know, Spider-Man might be in Europe, but we're still repping America, so we'll have a special America present for you. And we'll be talking Spider-Man Far From Home in full spoilers discussion coming up. But until then, we have plenty of talk about today because some small things are happening. For instance, Brandon Davis, you have a small event happening in your world. The Walking Dead is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's over. Tomorrow, it's over. No more Walking Dead.
No more Walking Dead. The dead are going to stop walking. But in addition to that, we also have to talk about this Avengers Endgame Re-Release, which I finally trudged out to see and have some thoughts to share, as well to echo thoughts of a lot of Marvel fans who were less than impressed with that re-release. We're also going to be talking about the Flash movie from DC. Who knew we were going to say that today? But the Flash movie is still alive, still has a pulse, and is now taking steps forward. It is walking again. We're losing walking walkers, but the Flash is walking again. It's all connected.
He did there. He brought it all.
We also got our first look at Henry Cavill's The Witcher coming to Netflix. And Netflix dropped another big bomb on us by telling us they are going to do what so many movie studios have failed to do for so many years, and they're scooping up Neil Gaiman's Sandman for a series. So we have a lot to get into. Let's get into it. We're going to start at the top, talking a little Avengers Endgame Re-Release. So we were hyping this re-release.
There was no we. There was no we. There was a you.
I mean, you were on the show talking about it. That's
I was not hyping. I said I wouldn't go see it.
Anyway.
I mean, we need to talk about how Kofi's projection
Don't lump me in.
way off.
Yeah, no, my projections were on. Marvel fan enthusiasm was half of that. That's what happened there. My projections were on. I'm trying to beat Avatar. What are the rest of y'all doing? So I went out and saw Avengers Endgame. It was the first time I've only seen it once before, so this is my second time. And it was a very good viewing on the second time. There's so many just really good kind of film and cinematic qualities that were kind of buried into Avengers Endgame that I didn't respect the first time. Things like small things like Iron Man. The first time you see Iron Man's helmet kind of illustrating the damage. Somebody's trying to call me right now. Like, what is happening on this show? We are just all.
I totally thought that was me, and I'm like, oh my god,
No,
panicking, and I'm like, wait, I don't have my phone.
I thought he was about to answer the phone.
I
was just like,
almost never had my phone on this show.
I once had an actor answer their phone in the middle of an interview.
Oh, I remember that at San Diego 2 years ago.
He was a Walking Dead cast, and he hung up, and I don't know if he was joking or not.
Is that actor still on the cast?
No, but he's joking. I mean, on camera. So I'll say we were on camera, and he was like, it was my dealer. Yeah. I mean, it's on camera.
Well, that was not my dealer. That was my real doctor, actually. So, like, that was my real doc.
Dealer doctor.
I'm trying to get with my doc
dealer,
all day.
yeah.
Should have answered in the podcast and just handled that business, but we won't do that. So, back to Avengers Endgame.
Oh my God,
I went out and saw
dying,
this, and it was a good time. And I don't know how long it's going to be a while before I sit through those 3 hours again for a third time. But it was good to see again. Now, let's talk about the real stuff. We were promised all this bonus material at the end. And you've probably by now heard the uproar about these bonus scenes, specifically one of the deleted scene we got, which was a clip that would have introduced Hulk back into the thing. And in the movie, we see Hulk in the diner. It just cuts to they need help from somebody who's smart. And so it cuts to the diner, and there's Smart Hulk. And it's like this big reveal. Well, there's this scene where Hulk gets the call from Captain America and Widow and Ant-Man to come and meet them. And while he's kind of saving people from a fire, Spider-Man style, and from the first Spider-Man movie. Except they didn't finish the scene for the re-release. So what you basically get is like PlayStation 2 version of Hulk jumping out of a building and kind of like coming across the ground, and he's talked to by some firemen. One of them is Carl freaking Winslow from Family Matters and Die Hard fame, who had a cameo in this movie that got cut.
That's the most bumming part
Yeah,
about
right?
this.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So He's talking to Carl Winslow, and he gets his phone call, and he pulls out this impossibly big Hulk like iPhone, but the character rendering is so bad that it's just like this big green dude. When Mark Ruffalo is talking, but they don't animate the mouth, so the mouth is still closed, and the Hulk is doing like this little side shuffle while he moves because they can't fully animate his movements.
Of all, there had to be more deleted scenes than that one.
There are.
Had to
there,
be
there
more
are.
deleted
There's
scenes.
going to be some of the
Wouldn't it
Blu-ray.
be
They
sad,
even have a
though?
list. They even told you like later on, and I think they even say in the re-release, yeah, there's going to be a lot more on the Blu-ray, and it's like,
But what if that was the most finished? Like,
I
what
don't
if
know.
that was the high? They literally picked and were like, "This is the most finished that we have. This is the one we're gonna put up." Like,
They would have been so much better off not telling people what was in the re-release.
no, I mean, you would have made a lot more money. It only made.
It wouldn't have beat Avatar, but
No.
it would have made more money. I mean,
Yeah.
I was excited. When we broke the news, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And everybody in the comment section was like, "This is the best thing ever." And even I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see it again." And then 2 days later, Marvel, here's what's included, and I was like, "Never mind."
I mean, I get it from an ethical standpoint. It is good to let people know what they're paying for. However, it was just such an assembly of what can we cobble together.
No, I mean, it was-
They
Yeah,
could have
just-
cobbled together more. Just come out and say, "Hey guys, look, we're trying to beat Avatar."
But listen,
They did.
Like, just say it.
I will say this: the Stan Lee tribute is very good. Okay, there's a Stan Lee tribute before this deleted scene. The Stan Lee tribute is very good and touching. Like, it's just a collection of his cameos and interviews from all of the Marvel movies he's done, kind of spliced together, and then it says like, "Stan, we love you 3000," and it's really good.
Yeah.
And it kind of really does get you at the heartstrings. Cool. And I would have actually liked that to be placed at the end of Endgame originally. I think it would have been a very good, touching after credit scene. And the "I love you we love you 3000" thing would help cement that. You know, it would have been very good. So that is good. I mean, sure, you can just wait a couple weeks and get it on a Blu-ray or something like that, but it was good to see in theater, and it did bring a sense of closure to kind of the Stan Lee MCU cameos, and kind of made me a little emotional. I'll be honest. That Hulk deleted scene, I mean, it was great because it was the funniest thing. I mean, it got the biggest laugh. Like, everybody in the theater was just like,
because it was so terrible.
yeah, kill it with fire, like unfinished Hulk, and it's become its own kind of meme now, and people are doing some really savage things with screenshots of this unfinished Hulk that they pixelate and stuff. It's great, yeah.
How was the extended preview? Like, if you
Yeah,
had
is that as like
seen-
a substantial scene that they showed?
What do you mean extensive preview of what?
For
It's the
Spider-Man?
first
there-
2 minutes.
Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Well,
Wasn't that part of
opening
it?
scene.
yeah. Okay, so it's the first 2 minutes, which if you see the movie,
I'm so glad I didn't.
the intro. It's not a spoiler to say the intro goes back to that thing you've seen in the trailer where it's set with Maria Hill and Sam Jackson in that kind of crumbled city shooting at dust monsters with guns, and it makes a little more sense when you see it in the context. But it's just a quick introduction of them, and then you know Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, and that's it. And
And
so,
guess
like,
what? The movie is now playing.
yeah,
It's in theaters now.
yeah.
You've
So-
probably already seen it.
Yep. So, like, I mean, if you hadn't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, it'd be a cool little teaser, but it's not much of a teaser. It's not much of a scene. There's barely any dialogue.
What if they announced next week they're gonna put different footage and show
God.
different
It's
scenes?
over. I'm not sitting
At the
for
end.
3 hours.
At
They
the
had
end
one
of it.
time. It wasn't even the $15 or whatever a movie ticket costs for me. It was the 3
the
hours.
time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go to the theater. It would be my 5th time seeing it, 4th or 5th time.
What if they
seeing
put it all the way up front so that way like you just watched it and then you could leave?
Still,
Would you pay $15 for it?
maybe?
No.
How long is the extra footage? Is it just the whole thing?
You better show me
Maybe
a
it's
phase,
like 10 minutes.
At this point, you need to show me a Phase 4 sizzle reel.
I don't care enough about the record to do that. Are they gonna I don't know. They're gonna return the favor,
No, I
pay
mean,
some of
I-
my student loan. Like, I don't care
Like,
about
we're not
their
trying to bury
freaking record.
Like, yeah, we're not trying to like bury Bonds or something. Like, it's gotten a run. It's
I'm over
gotten,
it.
We're in the standard window. It got a run. It got a re-release.
It'll
Like,
get
that's
another
about it.
run. Watch, they'll do another marathon somewhere down the line, and it'll try again probably. I don't know if it'll work.
This was its biggest push though, and it didn't make enough to
Yeah,
make
no,
that.
I
Well,
think
no, I mean with Avengers 5,
Does
whenever
Disney
that
re-release
comes,
Avatar? Before Avatar 2?
Probably. I said that before. I said
Yeah, because
tweet
people need to know
a couple weeks ago, and
remember
I
what
said
the hell it is.
even if
a
Endgame
decade.
narrowly tops
Yeah, for real.
Avatar, it doesn't matter because when Avatar 2 comes out, you're going to have an Avatar 1, Avatar 2 marathon option, and that's going to tip the scales back to the
You do
Avatar
a marathon.
record.
Do those movies get the money?
I don't know.
No, that probably counts towards 2, but I still agree. Like, it would be, I mean, some will say that Avatar 2 would overtake it if it's,
Avatar 2 will not make 2.7.
I don't think it will either.
It
but-
will not make $2 billion.
We are going way off topic, and I'm not going to start making those predictions because you have not seen what James Cameron has done. You're just talking now, like, yeah,
No one cares.
I don't know about that. No, nobody cares right now. I'm
you
the
did
first
at some
person to say that, but I don't
Sure,
bet
we
against
get that
James
first trailer,
Cameron.
and then all of a sudden everyone's gonna want to see
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like,
Yeah, all right. We'll
and
see.
You better be careful because you will be the person out there stumping it like Avatar 2, greatest thing I've ever seen. My eyeballs can't recover. Like,
Maybe.
you better be careful.
I mean, maybe I love. I'm not saying I'm not
jeez.
going to love the
Don't
movie.
pass BD.
No,
screw
no,
over
no.
future
I'm not
BD.
going to tell you. I'm not telling you that I'm not going to like Avatar 2 or it's not going to be a good movie. What I'm saying is
It's not going to make another
it's not
2.7.
going to make another $2.7 billion. I'll bet my house on it.
Oh, whoa.
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 Nobody wants your roommates.
It's on tape. It's on tape.
Okay.
There we
Boy.
go.
Whew. All right. That's fire.
We'll come back to that one.
2.7 billion. What's the date?
You
July
are
3rd.
you are a fantastic
Podcast.
host and interviewer.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
I know.
I don't know
Industry
what's happening.
analyst.
I don't know what's
Industry
happening right now.
analyst. Let's move
He's
on.
sweetening me up before a jab.
Is that what's happening?
Saying I
DC's The Flash. So DC's The Flash is coming back to life.
DC's
thought this-
Gambit.
Yeah, I mean, for real, DC's Gambit. Yeah, we thought this movie was done and over. I mean, and we thought this was going to be another victim of the Justice League mess, but, like, apparently this movie is still alive. It is moving forward. The Flash has tapped or is in negotiations with IT director Angie Muschietti to direct. It has gotten a writer with Christina Hodson, who wrote upcoming Birds of Prey movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Ezra Miller has been kind of still is attached to Star. So this Ezra Miller Flash isn't done yet, which of course brings us back to all kinds of confusing questions about the DCEU, where we are. We have Ezra Miller's Flash is continuing. We don't know anything about Henry Cavill's Superman. There's a new Batman. Wonder Woman's still the same. Aquaman's not going anywhere. So we're all over the place right now. It's kind of a mess. Somehow DC has gotten right back to where it was in the mid 2000s, and I don't know how.
I mean,
I'm happy for that team of people to be working on this.
I mean, I don't know. This does nothing for me as far as move my scale either way.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
I don't have belief in
Look,
this.
I'm trying to make up like,
In
enthusiasm
6
for the
months-
podcast, but this is like how I feel about him in Avatar 2. Like right now, I'm like, who cares?
Because I don't
more
see this
excited
movie
for
ever
About the
happening.
Flash?
I don't see this movie ever happening.
What?
It's
Ezra Miller
not
is
gonna happen.
One of the best parts about that entire.
Yes, but we don't spin off every
doomed
comedic
universe.
relief character into a solo franchise and say this is going to be great. Like
This
it doesn't
this
really work.
franchise, this character has had some great teams associated with it, and it keeps falling through. Just like Gambit keeps falling through, and it has some amazing
Name
talent.
one solid team that Gambit has had on.
Doug Lyman.
Yeah, what are you talking about? It's had people. You just don't care about Gambit as much as you do about Flash. You just buy it.
love
I mean,
the-
I
I
would
love
really,
Gambit.
I would have really liked to see who directed Dope. What was his name?
Carrie Fukunaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry-
Yeah, that guy.
I would have liked to see his version of the Flash. I think that could have been good. I think John Francis Daly and his directing coach, what's his name?
I forget.
I think they could have made a good Flash too. The Game Night, great film. They've made good
Yeah.
movies, those two. And I mean, I'm still excited.
I mean, Hodson's great. Look, I like Bumblebee
I'd watch
a
all
lot.
3 of those movies.
Birds of Prey, I want to see stuff from. She's also writing Batgirl. She's writing a bunch of stuff right now. We'll see if that actually materializes into an actual script. They start shooting stuff like that.
Right, that part.
I don't.
I mean, well, I'll
Right.
believe it when we get
Yeah.
into when they start building sets. Then
I think the thing
be
I'm
on
more
board.
curious about is the combination is like why Andy Muschietti? Like,
because it's going to be terrifying.
yeah, I mean, are you going to do like the Death Runners? Like,
I mean,
what are we talking
it's just
about?
the slow new line takeover of Warner Brothers, basically.
Yeah, but David F. Sanders turned out to be a weird combination for Shazam. I don't think they really had the
I thought
balance
Sandberg made
figured
a
out.
great Shazam.
Yeah, but I don't think they had the balance figured out between taking this horror director and putting him into a thing that appealed to little kids and having that all coalesce. I think there were a lot
There
of
was that
parents-
scene in Shazam that was just like,
Yeah,
that was
I think
a little
that
much.
threw a lot of families. and parents.
Yeah, family. I liked it though.
I mean, I liked it. I think
I was glad the
think-
movie had that.
I think there's a bit more to the Shazam story that's more of a perfect storm of like Shazam is who cares about Shazam? Where like the Flash, like everyone knows, like a bunch of kids
yeah.
know who the Flash is.
Yeah.
He's got rides at Six Flags.
And I
Shazam
love
doesn't.
it. Like I adore it. So
right.
like,
He has a
Like,
whole
I'm not
flat.
gonna lie.
I'm hopeful.
Andrew Muschietti, I think, is a weird fit potentially for the Flash.
That's
at
what I'm
least
saying.
on
I think it has
paper.
to do with what the story
Peyton
is.
Reed made an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, I can see that though.
He made Bring It On before that.
That's true.
So
But having that director is honestly the
Bring
only
It On is
reason
very
I
funny.
care about this news.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about this news any other than the fact that he is attached.
Yeah.
So like that. that's
Warner
the
Brothers
most
wants to
motivating
be in the Ezra Miller business. Like, it's
part. Cool. I liked his Flash.
I like his
I'm fine with
Flash.
it.
I think he's.
I'm very interested to see what this film shapes up to be,
Yeah.
what his connections are to the
But
DCEU or not, like
this-
what it is.
this is why Warner Brothers isn't bringing DC to Comic-Con. They learned their lesson clearly.
Yeah.
There's so many things changing behind the scenes, and they're finally starting to figure it out
Gain
now.
some momentum.
They're changing so many things, and the future is starting to take shape. We don't know what that is yet. And they're finally learning, don't just go throw every idea that you have out there publicly.
Right.
Let the ideas develop. Skip Comic-Con for a year.
I think this is a
Don't
smart
make
way.
a whole bunch of announcements if they're going to change, because when the announcements change, then people question you.
Yeah.
We're questioning The Flash because it's changed directors for the second time. Now,
Third now, isn't it? No,
like
it's the third.
Like it's on like Bond level changes.
Eighth.
But
it
right,
eighth
but so
or
now we're all sitting here questioning.
like
it.
at least third. I
Let,
know.
Yeah.
let
it's
the
at
movies
least third.
start to take shape, then go to Comic-Con, then make some announcements, and
Agreed.
show us some stuff and get people excited.
Bring it when you have stuff. in
Don't
the
show
can.
us 32 movie logos, 3 of which are going to get made.
Yes, agreed.
That's just a bad move. They learned from that.
Poor Ray Fisher.
This is a good sign. I think this is a good
Hold
sign.
on tight, man. He will get that cyborg movie.
I was just telling someone the other. I think I was telling Russ the other night. I go for that Crisis event that they're doing on TV. I'm sure Ray Fisher would not mind joining in if it's a multiverse event, right?
it.
That's
Do it.
Nice DCEU
They
connection.
couldn't
Just
afford
get
to
in.
make him look like Cyborg. Yet.
That's
They
well,
just
that's
expand.
that's the
Yeah.
problem. They just wouldn't be able.
We
to
need
afford to
budget
make
for
them.
stuff.
Ray Fisher and Henry Cavill. I'd take both of them back.
Some of those stars need their drinks. Some need their vapes. We need
Cavill's
to
good.
keep
We don't
our
need
budget
Cavill.
together.
You don't want Cavill anymore?
No, I want him as Superman, but he's got other cool stuff going on. I want
Speaking
him
of
to
which,
leave.
we are going to move on to what Henry Cavill is doing. That's cool.
Everything but Superman.
He's doing The Witcher,
Yeah.
and we've got our first kind of photos of this series that's coming to Netflix. The game series. Well, I'm not going to say popular. We have this fight, but the breakout hit game series around number
popular
3.
games.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Around number 3, like The Witcher
Yeah.
3 was the
It-
big.
it
breakout.
got
We
pop.
did
Two
this
was-
yesterday in the office. We're not doing it here.
It got popular.
Yeah, it was a breakout. Let's just call it a breakout hit. Okay. So The Witcher is now coming to Netflix, and from what we saw of this, Henry Cavill's butt. The end.
Well, if you read our site, that's pretty much what it was. Yeah.
That first poster, he looks so much like Legolas from like
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Doesn't look anything like.
Are you
Legolas.
kidding me? From behind,
Oh
it
my
looks
God,
like
he
he's about
looks
ready to
like
pull a bow
Geralt.
and arrow.
He looks like Geralt.
Wishes he had that ass. No.
Jim is just Jim is such a Hawkeye fan that he's
He's
looking
such
for
a
a bow and
troll,
arrow
man.
everywhere.
No, but this does looks like Netflix is making a play for the Game of Thrones vacancy, right? Like the stuff we saw was a lot grittier than I looked. Like the character kind of photos, they were kind
yeah.
of like grittier, dirtier than I thought it would be. And
I mean,
we
that's
don't
the
know
thing.
a lot.
No, I don't know. Actually, I don't know much about The Witcher, but is there like a ton of magic involved or not really?
Yes, there's significant. I mean, the two other main characters other than Geralt are Triss and Yennefer, and they're both sorcerers. Like that's what they're all about, magic.
So more magic than what Game of Thrones would bring to the table.
From what I know of Game of Thrones, just from the outside in, because like I've
Well,
never
Game of Thrones
developed-
existed when magic kind of had died out of the
Right.
world.
Yeah, but
This
this
is
has
like
a lot.
magic is still very much alive. in the
What
world.
kind of like monsters can we expect to see here? And
I mean, it's a blend of a lot of folklore. It's a lot of like kind of ancient monsters. They have
right.
A lot of ghosts and witches and werewolves and.
Last Witch Hunter, baby.
I mean,
I hope those look good. I hope those look
I mean,
as gritty and dark.
I mean, that'll be the real test for this series: is does the fantasy kind of scary fantasy action really translate? But
I think it will because Netflix loves spending money.
yeah,
well, but
favorite
also
thing to do.
this series though is not really about like. I know you brought up like Last Witch Hunter or whatever comparison.
I was just trolling.
This is far from that.
I was
mean,
just trolling.
the series kind of is more about like you see Geralt prepare, you see him explore the world a lot more. The monster fight is a kind of the payoff you get, but a lot of it is working your way up to following the trail, seeing
So is he
what
like
it's
a
mystery
chosen one
thing.
or something? Or?
No, he's one of a series of these Witchers are actually from young ages. They're like taken essentially and submitted to toxins and poisons and things so that they can repel it so that when they grow up, they can be monster hunters. Like that is their
So you're gonna get a
That's
lot of
their
flashbacks
group.
And they get to
of
look like Henry
screwed up
Cavill.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he's got like a ton of scars and like his back's all messed up. Like he's been through it. But yeah, like these games, and these are more based on the books
Right.
more than the games. Like they've made that incredibly clear, mostly because there's all kinds of lost stuff between the original writer and the games. But they're gonna base some of it. I mean, you can see from these photos, there's a little bit of the game that seeps in.
Yeah.
But the books are, delve more into like the world, and it is a gritty kind of. It's not like I wouldn't go like it's cyberpunk dark where like everything is constantly oppressive and stuff, but it is kind of a really gritty and dark world, and there's a lot of underworld stuff. But it's surprisingly funny. So I think honestly, if they can nail the charm, the wit and humor that's in the books and the games, and merge that with those cool payoff fights where someone's beheading somebody or this grotesque monster, that's the balance that they're trying to find.
The Witcher is going to Comic-Con.
The Witcher is going to Comic-Con.
So that pretty much solidifies the fact we're going to get a trailer in 3
we will
weeks.
get a trailer.
Within the
it's
next-
it's done filming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
done.
there's going to be when does it release?
They haven't said. It's
They have
later
not
this
said,
year.
so
We'll
probably
probably
get a
get a
release
trailer, a release date, and a whole bunch of information.
I would say October.
Yeah, that's
That's a good sweet spot.
Yeah.
And we still
Halloween.
haven't seen certain characters from there that are in the thing. Like
Yeah.
we'll probably get some trickles.
They're going to be coming, and mark my words, they're going to be coming to make snatch that Game of Thrones vacancy starting at Comic-Con.
I'm all about it, man.
Yep. So, all right. So we're excited, and we're mostly just excited to see Henry Cavill doing something out there big, and that he's trying to land another franchise until Superman gets its act together.
Poor Super.
All right. So, last but not least in our news flash today, the Sandman has finally cometh. Sandman, the series from Neil Gaiman that has been trying to get adapted for, the better
long.
part of my career doing this is finally getting adapted, but also by Netflix. Netflix is really trying to lock this down, this kind of mystical,
Booming, man.
they love spending money.
So,
Favorite thing.
Well, I would imagine too that the critical acclaim and reception that Good Omens has gotten, I'm sure Sandman is a thing that's been on Netflix's desk for a while.
And then Good Omens
and
was
Good
a
Omens
hit
came out
for Amazon.
and it did great for Amazon, like numbers wise. That they were just like, "Yep, done, got it."
But
We'll take it.
also something to consider: Good Omens is being marketed like crazy.
It was
There are
marketed like
ads
crazy.
for that everywhere.
Yep.
If you market anything that much and it's halfway decent, you
Oh
should
yeah,
get
the
views.
tape on my Amazon boxes for like 6 months was all
Yeah,
Good Omens.
everywhere.
And they did a really smart job of like how they rolled it out early to like they did everything right with that release. I will ask, because I'm actually sure on Sandman, is it like Good Omens where it's a finite miniseries? Are they saying this is an ongoing?
The first season is 11 episodes.
Okay.
That only covers just past the first trade.
So this
Preludes
is
and
so that was one thing that really lent itself to like Good Omens lent itself
a
to
story.
streaming because it was a finite. You watch it, you're
And
done.
it was a pretty faithful adaptation. too.
Yeah.
Like if you've read the book, like that first episode is almost word for word the first couple of chapters.
And because they managed the budget over only so many episodes, it was impressive budget wise. Like that's the one thing that worries me, and I know this is very expensive.
Yes.
yeah, most expensive series. And that's why DC is going through Netflix and not
Right.
that
That's why
DC
DC's like,
universe.
we don't want to pay for this. We're gonna let someone else pay for this, and we'll just take that money.
You saw what we did to Swamp Thing.
Yeah, they ain't going the Swamp Thing route. So, yeah, this entire world of Sandman, I don't want to get into what Sandman's all about.
Yeah,
it's just about deities who are actually real and this kind of crazy relationship they have and this war and this whole bunch of stuff. Neil Gaiman is deep. If you've seen American Gods or Good Omens, you kind of get the kind of world of how he takes popular folklore from all over the world and stuff and twists it into these very awesome kind of pulpy genre comic book stories. And Sandman's one of the most famous of all time, hands down.
And I think like outside of Watchmen is easily one of the most
Yeah.
reprinted trades that DC.
Yeah, it has been
every
going
year, so-
strong since the 90s. It's always been around since I've been into comics. So
I would say it's the most accessible Gaiman thing to get in. Like I've read American Gods, I've done, Good Omens, all
yeah,
that.
it's the easiest read
Sandman
by
to me
far.
is I think is the easiest one to get into. So
Yeah.
if you're like trying to figure out what the hell Sandman is, I would highly recommend going out and getting the trade.
No, I recommend going out and getting this. If you have not read this, go out, read it before this all happens because, you want to experience, I think everybody should experience the comic first. I'm not trying to be a purist. It's just a really great story and you'll enjoy it. So, we're psyched about that because it's been a long road. But now, man, Netflix is really coming with it. So.
But David Goyer.
Yeah. Oh, I did put that in the show notes. So, not to put a damper on anybody's spirits, but yeah. So Neil Gaiman is executive producing this series, but you know who else is involved with it? Our old buddy David S. Goyer.
Listen, Man of Steel is a pretty good movie.
Krypton's not bad.
No,
David S.
Krypton is
Goyer
not
is
bad.
not awful. David S. Goyer doesn't have pure losses on his resume.
He does not have pure losses. He
No,
does
no,
have
but
a
that's
bunch
the
of wins.
That's the thing. Goyer was never looked at as pure losses. He got a lot of hate
Yeah.
along the line, but like he's been looked at rightfully so as being wildly inconsistent. Like if you look at that man's filmography, it is like one of the most inconsistent things you will ever see.
It's like every
I
other.
always,
there's like a
I
dark-
always confuse him for Stanley Tucci.
There's like a oh my god.
He looks just like Stanley Tucci without a beard. Sorry, continue.
He has Dark Knights. He has Dark Knights on there, but he also has Blade 3. So that's about the range.
I have
We
no
need to
comment.
cut the reaction of that into a GIF.
Yeah.
Of the three of us looking at Jim.
I
when he
have
said
no
that.
comment on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't even know
No,
what
he
I
also
would
was
say.
a producer on the Constantine TV show, which everyone really, really liked.
Yeah, he's been a producer, and
Yeah, that's
like,
not a
that's
win, though.
been okay for
Ghost
him.
Rider,
And-
Spirits of Vengeance.
Yeah, exactly. I told you, it's always back and forth when you start reading down his filmography. It's all over the place. It's nuts. So,
What was wrong with Ghost Rider?
Spirits of Vengeance. Nothing.
almost
Once
got
the
it
end
out
credits were over, it was all good. And lights
Oh
came
man,
back
I
up.
forgot he wrote the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV movie. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, look,
Wait, with
you're only going to
with
keep
Hasselhoff?
proving my point.
Yep.
Yes,
Really?
going to keep proving my point. I've done enough Goyer articles to have broken down his entire filmography and been like just staring at it. So
But at least
I don't
they've been
think-
getting better.
yeah, Gaiman's going to be involved with this, so I'm settled. Like I'm settled on that. So if he's involved, I feel confident about.
I think at the very least, Goyer has. Like, I mean, he is a safe Warner Brothers representative for the production of this show to get it up and off the ground.
And Gaiman, since I mean, I know with Good Omens, like he was very much like once he finished that, he was going to dive into American Gods as far as like being involved on a regular basis.
Because he was not involved.
Yeah, and so I think right with this one, I imagine he would be
Oh, this is
severely.
like one of his babies.
Yeah,
This-
so
yeah,
I mean,
dude, this dude's not letting this out of the stable.
Yeah.
No.
I think he tried doing that with like American Gods a little bit and saw, oh, okay, went off the rails a little bit.
And Netflix lets the creators do what they want to do too.
Yep.
Netflix isn't going to come down and bring in some kind of executive hammer
No,
and say we
that's the
want it this way.
entire.
But also when it's Neil
appeal of
Gaiman,
Netflix,
it's just like,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
The entire appeal of Netflix is like letting you do what TV and movie studios like
Won't.
So.
Yeah.
All right, Sandman. We're looking forward to that.
I also got to point out, like, you got to. They canceled all the Marvel shows, and they were like, you know what? We'll get a DC show.
we got all the spare
I
money
didn't
laying
even think
around.
about it like that, but that is some real shade. Not just a DC show.
yeah,
on, like
a
we're
very
starting at the top
anticipated-
shelf.
Yeah.
Remember that thing you've wanted all this time?
Imagine if Netflix
you
committed to an interconnected DC universe. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be truly incredible.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
I mean, it could be.
Let's give them that idea.
The potential on that is truly incredible.
To a DC.
And they would do it just like they wanted to do the Marvel one. They would keep it exactly, be like, this is how many episodes, this is our budget. We're not
13.
going over this. Yeah,
Oh.
we're done.
All right, last but not least in news, we got to talk about BD's best friend, Star Wars The Last Jedi director Ryan Johnson has come out with a new movie trailer. He's doing a kind of throwback whodunit called Knives Out, and this movie has everybody in it. I wrote it down because I was a little more prepared today. So we got Chris Evans, Michael Shannon, Tony Collette, Daniel Craig, Lakeith Stanfield, Anna De Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, John Johnson, Christopher Plummer. It's Jaden Martell and Catherine Langford from that movie or show I forget right now.
Avengers Endgame. Oh, it forgot her too.
Oh,
That should have been the scene that they showed. They
No,
should have
because that
shown the
affects the
Catherine.
canon. They won't affect that because it affects the canon.
Is she
That's
from
true.
13 Reasons?
For 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, that's right.
You'll never see that clip.
They will
That
never
clip
see
will never be released.
It
affects the
You got to
canon.
tell the people what you're talking about.
I'm talking about
She was-
Catherine
she was
Langford
supposed to
shot
be
a scene for
in
Endgame, and it
Avengers
was cut,
Endgame.
and she was going to be the older version of Morgan Stark.
Yes.
It was cut, and that's a canon thing.
Oh, that was supposed to be seen in the Soul Stone before Tony went.
Something like that.
I don't know
like
what.
that,
I don't know
forget.
about all that.
I don't remember what the scene was, but yeah, she's basically supposed to be older Morgan, and they cut it.
Oh, I would have loved a Tony Stark Soulstone scene.
I think. I mean, that's just. I
What did it
remember
cost?
I'm just reading the rumor that, like, yeah, like as he dies, he would see that.
Just
like,
wrote it right
Soul
here.
Stone where she's older or something. Anyway, so Yeah, they're all in it, and we got the trailer for this. And if you don't know anything about Ryan Johnson, I was kind of writing about this with a teaser yesterday. Like, before all the Last Jedi infamy, like Ryan Johnson was like making his bones, kind of making high concept, kind of noir style movies.
Looper.
Looper was like the highest concept, was like taking his noir. But what really got him that job was making a movie called Brick, which, if you haven't seen Brick, stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And it's basically like Chinatown in high school. But he does this kind of David Milch Deadwood thing where everybody speaks in this very high, kind of high formal language, not like high school kids. Like they're all
like an Aaron Sorkin show.
yeah, they basically speak, but it's like 1940s
Yeah.
like noir people. So they kind of like use all kinds of funny phrases like and all this stuff. That's
Cool. I love that
old-timey.
stuff.
Yeah. And it's shot in black and white, but it's a high school kind of mystery, classic film noir. Like Kiss Me Deadly or a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, so like that's what really put him on the map, because Brick became like this kind of cult hit with cinephiles and got circulated, which led to like Looper and other things. So him going back to this is I'm excited about. It looks like this one is a little bit more humorous. Looper and Brick are not very humorous. It looks like Ryan Johnson has more of a sense of humor in this one. And of course the cast, but Clue is very dear to my heart, and I'm not going to give up that mantle very easily, so I'm not sold yet because I'm still not sure.
It's like Clue / Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, that's the movie that
Slash
came to
The
mind
Hateful
immediately.
Yeah.
It reminds me of The Hateful Eight a little bit.
Which I really liked. I mean, I really liked the original Clue. I also like I got Orient Express. So
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for classic whodunits.
Yeah, detective stories, who done it.
As I agree with Jim, because he made that comment earlier, Daniel Craig, anytime he's
Doing
in a
a
role like this, he kills. He kills every time. And this, like,
Maybe he's the killer.
he could be. It's just the way he
kills.
talks, his mannerisms, like it's great. Like I'm in for that.
It looks great. I think this movie looks like a lot of fun. I
It's a shame
bet.
he's got
I
that-
just have a
that
feeling it's
Bond
gonna.
movie he has to make. I just want to see Daniel Craig do more that stuff.
Oh, this stuff? Like, yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm kind of ready for him to move on.
Giving us some great gifts and meme moments. I mean, the Chris Evans eat sugar honey iced tea, where he just goes around the room to everybody in the room is just like, you eat sugar honey iced tea, you eat sugar honey iced tea, you eat ish, you eat ish, you eat ish. Like, yeah, that was already really funny. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are good points in it, but like I said, man, I love a good whodunit, but this one's already boasting, saying it's going to be a whodunit, like nobody's ever done it before. Pun, but like,
They always say that.
yeah.
Do like Michael Shannon.
Oh, I love Michael Shannon. Like, I love Michael Shannon. Bad Boys 2, awesome.
I just hope they find the killer and Michael Shannon says, "I will find you."
You know what? I also think Michael Shannon looks a lot like Stanley Tucci. So
What?
Wow, back to that. Here we are.
MC discussion
Well,
killer over here. All right,
go.
so stay tuned, because when we come
goes the
back,
joke.
when we come back from that awkward ending, we're gonna talk about the shock twist news that The Walking Dead is coming to an end.
R.I.P.
All right, so Brandon Davis, we've put your resume on Monster.com. Walking Dead expert,
That is not.
Walker Stalker alumni. Like, since it's all coming down, we just thought we'd give you a head start out there, get your resume up. No, I'm just kidding. You've been Walking Dead, but you grew. You made the jump. It's good you made the jump, man. It's good you like doing like deep WB movies, getting big things, Friends with The Rock. These are good career moves, because The Walking Dead has come apart in record time, record fast, and it is going downhill. We are getting one more issue of The Walking Dead.
This week?
Yep, that's
That's
it.
it.
It's over, folks.
The final issue is on shelves right now. If you're listening to this podcast,
The comic series about the zompocalypse that would never end is ending.
Is that the book that got you into comics? I can't remember.
no. That is, I started reading The Walking Dead right around the time like really got into comics. Like I read Batman, Superman and stuff in middle school and whatnot. But then 2012, I'd say, started reading a lot of Marvel books and picked up some DC books, and then picked up The Walking Dead right around issue 97, which was the Something to Fear arc before Negan was introduced. And then read issue number 100 where they killed Glenn, and I was like, wow, I don't know if I want to read this book. I'll keep watching the show, but this book is effed up. And then I kept reading I have every issue. I started going backwards in the issues, and then obviously started working here and became a really big part of the Walking Dead community. And
Do you have a number one?
do I have a number one? No.
Really?
I don't. No. But I remember one time, I like we get the advanced screeners. I knew Jesus was making his first appearance on the show on Sunday night, and I was at a Comic-Con and I bought the first appearance of Jesus, and I felt dirty for that. I bought it for like $12, and it went up in value the next day.
The crazy thing about The Walking Dead, though, as a series, like this is something that Kirkman he started on his own and is ending on his own terms. And you can say what you will about the sales, like the sales numbers haven't been great, but at the same token, he's still on his own outselling a ton
And that's
a ton
the
of
thing.
other books.
I mean, it's very frustrating the way it's ending.
Yeah.
As a longtime fan of this, and I've read them from the beginning.
Right.
I've gone back, and how invested I've been in this book and reading it. There's no comic I've read on the day of release like this ever. There's no show, there's no TV show. I mean, besides The Walking Dead and maybe Lost that I've watched the day they come out. But the past year with this whole Commonwealth story he's been doing, and if you're not reading the book, if you only watch the TV show, they took the community from Alexandria to this group called the Commonwealth. It's thriving, 50,000 people, so much so they have football games, they have concerts, they have luxurious amenities and things like that. They have a ridiculous class system and basically a tyrant who calls herself Governor Pamela Milton. Instead of going to war, Rick tried to do like a civil thing and talk things out with her. And then her son, major spoiler alert here, her son shoots Rick in the heart 3 times, just kills him in last month's issue. And it was very frustrating. And Kirkman says, I knew around issue number 177 that this would be the guy who killed Rick. And he's a small character. He's an annoying, useless, small, new character. He kills Rick Grimes. And it gives you the feeling that Kirkman just kind of said, I'm kind of over this.
He got tired.
I'm kind of over this. I need to wrap it up. And I always promised I'd kill Rick Grimes.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if this ending, if you're more upset that it's ending, or if that because the ending feels so.
Yeah, there's 2 sides to it.
Hey man, he got Omar.
I'm telling you. I mean, issue number 191, Rick gives a great speech to the community. Talks about how they can all come together. We are not the Walking Dead, which is full circle from the issue 100 issues ago.
Yeah, we are.
Where he said we are the Walking Dead, more than 100 issues ago, and that was a great moment. And that felt to me like, oh wow, the book could have ended right here, and I would have been happy. And then I felt like Kirkman was like, I did promise I'm going to kill Rick Grimes. Let's kill him. And then there's this issue with the time jump and all the happy endings that kind of wrap everything into a bow. And it's over. So it felt to me like he was just like checked out. I got to end this thing. And that's what he did. But then at the same time, despite that, I kind of respect the fact that he ended it instead of continuing it. Being The Walking Dead, being an IP with the name The Walking Dead, as valuable as it is, he could another publisher would have said, no, you're not ending this. You're not cutting this book off. We'll get someone else to write it. I don't care if you want off. And he said, I want to end it. You know what? It's not an awful ending. The ending, it works. I don't know what they could have done to make it happily ever after if he was going to kill Rick no matter what. I'm pissed that Rick got the death he got. Thought he deserved something better, but it worked.
As someone who is in and out of the books more than you, like I'm not faithful every month or whatever, but I'll when a big thing hits, I'll kind of go back and fill a couple issues in and then kind of kick off. I was supremely underwhelmed. Like I was like, really? That's how Rick Grimes dies? And there is a poetry to it almost because this series is very much about defying expectations and about not giving the reader what they want a lot. Like Kirkman typically, he does that a lot with deaths and he does a lot with characters.
You don't need that.
But
good character arcs.
So like in surprise and shock, I guess it's there. But I just hate that whole thing of like, it plays out very samey as far as like, oh, he gets shot. And then, oh, look, Carl discovers like, it's he's undead now and he's got to put him down. It's like, okay, we've seen that over and over.
Well, that's been the theme of the book is seeing things over and over again.
Yeah,
I think that's where it got. And this Commonwealth stuff, I think, was a big swing and a miss. As a foul ball because it should have been a home run. The early issues about the Commonwealth were so exciting. I think I wrote a review around issue number 177, 180 on our weekly reviews, and I called it the most exciting and expansive chapter of The Walking Dead to date. And it was great. Like it was so exciting. And then a year went by and it felt like nothing was going on. I mean, a year in our life went by. So 12 issues. And it felt like nothing was really happening. And he was just building to this ending, I guess. But it's not the Game of Thrones ending. I'll give him that. It's not a bad ending. It's a little bit frustrating. Like you said, it's underwhelming.
Yeah.
Rick deserves something better. But the way they ended Michonne's story, they gave her a granddaughter.
Yeah.
You know, like she reunited with her daughter at the Commonwealth. It wasn't all grim and they're all dead like a lot of people would have probably suspected from Kirkman. He likes to do dark stuff like that. But here we are. The sales were declining. The story was declining.
It's also kind of nuts too. Like, is there like there's literally nobody else in comics who can pull a stunt like this other than Kirkman.
No.
And it's interesting because I went back to look back at I feel like a lot of the Walking Dead rise in the very early part was Kirkman put that very weird green screen manifesto where he basically called out a bunch of his big name work for hire counterparts at DC and Marvel. He basically called out Bendis and Brubaker and Fraction and Hickman and all those guys and said, and this was a time where like Kirkman was feeling a bit scorned by Marvel and said, I'm going to go do my own thing. Did it, stuck to his guns, and you look at The Walking Dead now at the media sort of powerhouse that it is. It's kind of crazy. Like it's it's almost a Cinderella type story because no one else has been able to come close
Do you know how many
to
people
accomplishing
have,
what he's done.
tried to do that?
Yeah, there's a ton of people who try, but no one's been able to do it.
Well,
Listen,
but if it didn't become a TV show,
Yeah,
we
I
wouldn't be
was in-
talking about it
yeah.
right now.
Well, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah,
but like,
and this is where I get really jaded, and I think like a lot of the things that people say, props to Kirkman for ending on his own terms, are just complete bull crap. Like, I don't have a lot of respect or esteem for Robert Kirkman's work. Like, I don't think it's been that good. The Walking Dead, I think there's a lot of times it's stalled out and just kind of spun his wheels. Because I collected the big hard
the compendiums.
volumes, and I have. And they're the heaviest thing I have to move from place to place.
They're so heavy.
Yeah.
They're so big.
And so, like,
48 issues.
I forget which one I'm up to now. Like, I just had to stop around like 11 or 12 because I couldn't physically store them and carry them everywhere. But like, yeah, I was in the room for that first Comic-Con when The Walking Dead was going to premiere that year, and it was empty. It was empty. Like, I walked right in.
The show didn't pick up till like
No.
season 3, right?
I mean, the first season averaged
the first
less than
season,
10 million.
yeah.
I think season 2
But it
got up
started
to
getting
12.
the first season got hype is what it got.
maybe.
And then by the second season with that big season 2 premiere, it was starting to surge. But like, yeah, the comic was doing all right, but it did not have the fandom when the TV show first launched. The TV show had a lot to do with it, and that brings us back to the argument about if this was Kirkman or Frank Darabont who really got this thing off the ground, spotted the gem, put it out there for the mass audience, and was like, "Here you are." That's always going to be debatable because I don't know. Robert
Even though the
Kirkman,
true answer is probably both. I mean, it's a little bit of both.
it's a situation. But if you ever hear Kirkman talk, Kirkman's ambitions are non-existent. Like, he was just like, I just wanted to be over here writing this revenge comic, and that's all I was caring about. Like, and I was just doing my thing. I didn't know anybody was watching. So, like, I think
It comes through in die.
yeah. And it's just like, I feel like, honestly, deep down, we're going to look back on this and just see the case of a creator who got media fame. And I think George R.R. Martin's story is going to be a lot of the same way. Like, people who got into this weird period where these kind of cult hit genre things were blown up into these huge mainstream TV shows and invariably alter the creators themselves. And Kirkman, I think, I've seen it year after year after year after interview after Comic-Con. The level of disdain he is just like sitting on each time he's on the stage trying to face the crowd. Every Q&A just got progressively more painful and like tense and awkward with him. Every time he got a question, it was more like a snapback at a fan just being like, "You're an idiot," or just something. And so, like, I think he just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think we're not getting some great storytelling arc and ending. It's just a guy who was like, I made a comic series that I'm going to have run about the zombie apocalypse that never ends. And he's just like, I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm done with it. Yeah.
I got enough money. I'm out.
I mean, in a lot of the ways you're describing, like talking about it, you're actually describing The Witcher's author as well, who like that was his big, like the game, like the second game is what really started things, and then the third game blew up, right? But it was the games that blew up over the books had been there for years. I mean, the first book I think came out in 1994, so like they'd been around forever, and then it was this other group that went, well, let's push here, let's move some of your ideas around and pluck around, and then ever since it was that same thing of like when he's asked about them, he's literally like, I'd rather talk about anything other than the games.
And
like,
I mean, J.R. Tolkien's family doesn't want the similarity in getting made.
You know, it's you've seen that pattern.
Yeah.
You know,
I also think it's partly due to the fact that the show became so big and he didn't really have all that much input on the show. I mean, he had the book, but I think AMC took over.
Yep.
And he would have done things differently. And he probably, I don't know if he would have even made the show go this long. He may have. It's supposed to be the never-ending zombie story, but it had to be. I think that frustrated the hell out of him, and I honestly think it started to make him lose interest in the books. And he killed Andrea back in the Whisperer War. I think he knew this was coming. I think Andrea was his favorite character. Andrea was everyone's favorite character in the books. When that came, we should have all seen the writing was on the wall. And I think he just decided he started getting towards the end there. And now here we are. It's over.
Okay, so would you have rather him have said, "All right, in 3 months, that's going to be the last issue," or like, it just?
No, that's not.
Like this
I don't
feels
care.
like
the delivery of the end isn't the issue. That's fine. This is a cool way to do it. Actually, I think this is a cool way to do it. Just say, by the way, Rick died last week. You all saw that.
Yep.
If we told you the book was ending, you probably would have thought Rick was going to die anyway. So we preserved the Rick dying spoiler. That worked. I think that's a pretty cool way to do it. If the show were to be like, by the way, this is the series finale. I mean, AMC could never because you have to market it that way. But that's a cool way to do it.
yeah, I agree.
As long as it's intentional. And I think this was intentional. I think he knew for a while this was the end, so it worked. But I mean, it worked the best way it could with him.
Right.
The effort I think
It's
he
just
did.
the ending itself.
Yeah, the ending itself. No, I
Question
do
will be,
think
will
this is
the
a cool way to do
larger
it.
fan base be satisfied? People who have hung in there, or are they just going to be like, what the hell just happened in my favorite book?
Well, they'll just be the same. The big ripple effect started with last month, and the month before that. You saw me. I read issue number 191 here in the office. I stood up. I said, "What the?" And I said, "Just end the book." Didn't I?
Yep.
I stood up and I said that. You did. I said, "Please, just end the book now. Why are you continuing this? What's the point?" And guess what? He ended the book.
You got it.
So
So how much would you say you're responsible for all this?
Kirkman's got lines in the office.
You think like hardcore questionnaires like yourself and sleuths on The Walking Dead, pushed him over the edge?
I don't think I said.
Do you
publicly
bear
end the
any
book.
responsibility for this?
I don't think I got online and said just end the book. I don't think I'd ever say that back then. But no, I'm not. I don't think any of the people.
I'm just
who were-
messing with you.
Right? Yeah, I
It's
know.
all
I'm just-
Kirkman.
He's so trolling.
Kirkman is also trolling. Kirkman's always trolling. He is the biggest troll writer. I think he enjoys this stuff. I really do. I think he gets a kick out of just annoying people with some of his content, like his surprise deaths and stuff. Like I think he sits back.
193
and giggles.
issues of an independent comic.
It's like
That's amazing. Oh, no,
an
man.
impressive
It's a
run.
hell of an accomplishment. I got a lot of respect for the guy. I don't think he likes talking to us at all or anybody about his stuff. I really don't. Like Kofi said, I think he's just over it. But I got a lot of respect for the dude. He's paved his own way. Obviously, AMC coming along and making this into a show is what did it.
So you're saying there's no Oblivion song show coming?
There's a movie coming.
There's an Oblivion
Is there a movie
movie
coming?
coming
There's a
from Universal. Robert Kirkman and Universal like each other.
Okay, fair enough. Did not know that.
All right, so that'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. We wanted to leave some time because we want to do our whole spiel about how you guys can jump on and ride with the show because we got some good episodes coming up, like our Spider-Man Far From Home spoilers discussion. We post new episodes every Wednesday and Friday on Comicbook.com, although I think will we have an altered posting schedule this week for the...
Yeah, I'll probably post the
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
so we'll have
discussion
one
early.
a little bit sooner, probably around July 4th this week. But normally, every Wednesday and Friday, where any of our articles on comicbook.com for the podcast, you can subscribe to our RSS feed, or you can go on your favorite listening platform on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Google Playlist, or tell any Amazon Alexa device to play Comic Book Nation podcast.
We also have a special episode coming on this Sunday.
Oh, that's right. We got stuff for you guys over the holiday this entire week. So we got Spider-Man Far From Home spoilers discussion episode coming in the next few days. Then, this weekend, because Brandon Davis went out and did so much good work for us during the Spider-Man Far From Home junket, we have a bunch of great spoilery discussions with the bigwigs in this whole thing. Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios, Amy Pascal of Sony, So we're going to have a bunch of stuff to talk with them about, the franchise, Spider-Man, all this stuff we got them to kind of comment on. And we will be releasing that to you guys as a special bonus episode of the podcast as well. So,
And if you listen to it early enough on Sunday, there's a very good chance that you will be listening to the spoiler stuff before stories are even on the site.
Yeah.
Yep. So you will not have to read if you listen. Take that as incentive.
Fair enough.
No reading, just listening. There you go.
But still go click on the website.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely. Click on all the
Click
stories.
on all the stories.
But if you want to get the scoop and the jump, when you see that notification pop up, this is a new episode of Conversation.
tell you what, you guys listen and then tell all your friends by sending them the article links. How about that?
There you go. Perfect.
It's a happy medium.
Yeah.
All of them.
All right, so we're going to read some reviews because if we read your reviews on the air and you guys leave us positive 5-star reviews on iTunes, we'll send you some comic book swag. And now we have official Comic Book Nation's, wrong side for the marketing here, Comic Book Nation t-shirts that are pretty fly. Jim made us some great t-shirts. So we have them, and you guys can get out there and represent. We already have some really great fans that are out there representing for us. But we'd like to do more. So we're going to read a few more reviews today. Let's see. I think we'll start with this one this week for Matt's sake. It's called Almost As Good as Captain Marvel by Vitamin Steve. This is the best pop comic podcast in the multiverse. I never knew I needed it until I dived in and found myself going back and listening to their previous episodes just to gather new intel and opinions. The quality is well produced, but still keeps the feeling of a raw convo with friends. Keep up the good work. If I'm ever in Nashville, I'll buy you all a drink. This man knows where we are.
Oh, yeah.
Next
Well,
one
you
is,
did give out the address.
I did. I've given out like everybody's personal information and everything. Yeah, I'm doing real good at this. Love It is the next review by the real Todd Rogers, not the fake one. These podcasts are outstanding. Get tons of great info about movies, video games, TV shows, etc. The guys always sound like they're having an absolute blast doing these. We love not writing, so listen. All right. Next one. Finally, the Outlaw has come back to the podcast. Now, this
Had
is
to pick
real
a self-serving
review.
one.
By Bearded Dragon.
Good name.
I haven't used iTunes in forever, but this is the one reason I got back on, just to review you. I stumbled upon your podcast during the Endgame reviews. It was at that time that I heard a familiar voice that I've always agreed with in most cases when it came to movies and TV. I was happy to hear Kofi again and knew I was finding a podcast for me. But then it was solidified when I heard Matthew Aguilar and his love for Moon Knight and wanting a TV show movie like I have been wanting forever now. And to top that, I'm an Eagles fan living outside of Nashville, TN, and I heard that he was too. A podcast match in heaven. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Man, that
Right
was
there.
real personal.
That was
Thank you.
Bearded Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So good. There's one there's one in here for BD, but we have a lot of good reviews you guys have just been dropping in here. But I wanted to give like BD one because there was like oh yeah, here we go.
Gotta really search.
No. I'll do So Good by Chris G26 first. I got caught up on all my other podcasts and I had seen this one on the site and I wanted to check it out. This is such a good show and I look forward to it each and every Wednesday and Friday. And here we go. Comic Book Nation Rocks by Prince Drake 100. Episode 44 was a very great episode. Best part was about Spider-Man Far From Home. Also, I'm glad there was hints about end credit scene, so thanks, Brendan Davis.
Look at that.
Stay till the end. Do all these people get T-shirts?
Yeah, they'll all
Do
get
we
t-shirts.
have enough T-shirts?
Yeah, we got a t-shirt.
Good.
We'll have to
Thanks
get
for the
more.
reviews, everybody.
Yeah, we're going to stop there. We got more to read, but we're going to take an episode.
Say, guys,
There's still plenty more to read.
Yeah, there's plenty more to read, but we're going to
our
keep it
podcast is awesome.
episode by
Drop a
episode.
review.
We're going to dull them out a little bit so that we make sure we have
We got to wait for the printer.
Now,
I'm gonna have to log in and write more reviews about myself.
Hit us up on Twitter or Instagram or somewhere or hashtag Comic Book Nation. You know, we'll DM you email address where you can send us your address and your shirt size, and we'll get a shirt out to you. So if you heard your review read, just hit us up. All right, that'll do it. Special announcement. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a vacation. So I'm going to be leaving the show in the hands of these capable gentlemen here. And hopefully when I get back, there will be a show. Like,
It's the evil laugh from over there.
Yeah, I know.
It's worrying.
you guys will be in the hands of Jim Viscardi and Matthew
The whole
Aguilar.
podcast is going to be about
But
Sentry and
We've gotten so close to 50 episodes that I think they're like everybody's well trained.
So much
it
Red
should be
Hulk.
Good.
It's going to be all Red Hulk.
Red Hulk and Golden Girls.
Whatever,
That's
you
gonna be the
guys,
whole show.
whatever you guys want to do, I'm going to be taking a break. So I'll ride you with you guys when I get back. Until then, we just want to say this is Comic Book Nation. Peace out.
Deuces.